Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, March 14th, 8:47 a.m., otherwise known as Pi Day. Today is the day for pie. You know, this day has always been in my mind since I was little. And the reason for that is because my mom, for about 15 years of her life, was a math teacher. So I understand Pi Day very well. 314. Now, I don't know what comes after 3.14, but I know there's people that have memorized like 1,000 digits or whatever. But it is Pi Day. So happy Pi Day to those that celebrate Pi Day. I wish I had a pie, dude. It would be so. I should have thought of this last night. I would have bought a pie. It would have been fun. But it's Pi Day. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Thank you, everybody, for being here on the Market Open. We've got Robinhood. $19.12 in the pre-market. Obviously, a lot of stuff to talk about there. They had a really good February. I mean, it's almost like yesterday was earnings for Robinhood with the bump we're seeing right now. The market really liked their February numbers. So we got to talk about that. Palantir. I don't know if you guys saw the interview yesterday. The interview was a pretty epic interview. Karp had a lot of words to say for the Palantir shorts. He also highlighted a bunch of different things that are going on in the world of their in the context of their growth, in the context of boot camps. So I want to talk about that. Palantir up right now, 25.20 in the pre-markets. Tesla was at 164. Right now, I'm looking at it. Tesla's at 169. So it did bounce from 164. I don't really know what got it to bounce, but it's here at 169. We'll see if it can recover a little bit today. Tesla's in a bunch of issues, and we'll talk deeper about it. But, you know, a lot of people are saying 150, 140. Wells Fargo yesterday said 125. We'll see if that actually holds up. Right now, Tesla at 169. Then we got to talk about Dollar General. Really good earnings on Dollar General this morning. Different from Dollar Tree. They're up 5%. PPI came in a bit hotter than expected. The market dipped on a bad PPI. Like, I saw a bunch of stocks just fall almost like 1%. And then it just recovered right after that PPI was ingested. So it seems like even with a hotter PPI, which we'll talk about in a second, it wasn't enough to get the market to really get scared. And then obviously we got to continue our updates on Bitcoin. Dogecoin has some major updates we have to talk about. Bitcoin itself, 73,000, got about $580 million more of inflows yesterday. And MicroStrategy is up 1.47%. It's now $1,800 in the pre-market. Michael Saylor now wants to spend another $500 million after raising $800 million of convertible debt literally last week, to buy more Bitcoin. So, I mean, we've got a lot to talk about. A lot is going on, but let's get into it. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Torben, Top Dasher, Vito Productions, Ray, Switchblade, Profesco Joe, Dominic, Valerio, Trucker Rob, John Paul, thank you for being here. Hello from Thailand. I love it. Awesome. Diane, Nick Piercy, Lyndon, Lowa, Miguel, Trung, Broccoli, Bob, Kelly, hello. Eeyore was right. It's my birthday. Happy birthday to Eeyore was right. You know, the one thing my mom taught me growing up is that whenever it's someone's birthday, you make them feel special on your birthday. Because yes, it is a year closer to death. That is technically true. And every time I tell that to my mom, she gets so mad at me because she's more optimistic on birthdays. And I'm optimistic as well, but like that's the reality. It's like a year closer to death. What are we celebrating here? But we're celebrating the fact that we can finally leave this planet because life sucks, right? Oh, wow. That just got very morbid. No, happy birthday. Eeyore was right. Awesome for you to have a birthday. Everyone wish him happy birthday in the chat. And yeah, enjoy the birthday. I'm very grateful that you're spending your birthday with me here in the morning. So thank you for being here. Chana, Ray, Others Inc., Atit, Ernst, Daryl, Hugo, Cows, Sundown Sam, Alex, Crossroads, Lusty Picker, Tony Bags, Richard, Bruning, Mark. All right, let's get into it. Tony says, congrats on another lap complete. Yep, another lap around the sun. And we're alive, which is the most important thing. I think remembering that your birthday brings you closer to death also makes you feel grateful that you're alive and you get to celebrate another year of existence before that inevitability happens, which it is an inevitability for every human since the history of planet Earth. So it kind of makes it more special because you don't get as many birthdays, you know, and I think that's important to always remember. All right, so what do we start off with? I think there's a lot of stuff we can go through first. I think let's do PPI because that's the kind of breaking macro news that is happening right now. And then obviously we'll get into a bunch of stuff that we have going on. So here we go. PPI. This is what we've got. United States PPI came in at 1.6 versus 1.1. Obviously, that is hotter than expected. So the market was expecting 1.1. For the PPI, for those that are unfamiliar with it, Producer Price Index, this is basically how much producers have to pay in order for them to produce their goods. So in the context of PPI, it's, you know, if it costs you $30 to build a let's say a cowbell, right? Or let's say it costs you $10 and you sell it for $12. Well, if it only costs you $6, you can sell it for $7. And then inflation comes down, CPI tends to come down, if PPI comes down, because it's easier for consumers to buy something that is priced cheaper. But the only way it's priced cheaper is if it costs lower to make it. So PPI came in hotter, 1.6 versus 1.1. That's a 0.5% increase. I don't think the street expected that. And then core PPI came in at 2% versus 1.9. That wasn't the best, but it's definitely not as bad as headline PPI. Now, markets did fall slightly on this. I was looking at a bunch of different stocks that just went straight down. S&P did not go red. It was up 0.4 basically 5%. Now it's up 0.25%. 10-year bonds did spike to 4.221, but it's not like the market necessarily said, hey, this is this is going to be a horrible thing. And again, it's going back to this thesis that in the context of PPI right now, or in the context of the broader market, look at the S&P. It's at 517 in the pre-markets. It's actually up 0.25%. It was up a 0.5% before the PPI, but the PPI being much hotter than I thought people expected, 1.6 versus 1.1, that was not enough to get us a red. And this is what's happened every single day or every single month where we've had this type of data. It's like it hasn't gotten us red, even if it's been bad. Yeah, the CPI this week wasn't the best either, but we didn't go red. And I think the market's kind of just like, we know inflation's coming down, so we're not going to go red on this. We're not going to sell our stocks. We're not going to go hoard out cash, while we're waiting for inflation to come down. So you kind of have a take it or leave it approach. And if you believe inflation's coming down, the market would rather take it than leave it. So that's what we have right now in the context of PPI. 10-year is at 4.22. And so 10 years did spike on this news, but we kind of saw 4.2 like in the past couple of weeks, right? It's kind of been that 4.1, 4.15. So 4.2 is not that crazy. It's not 3.85 anymore, but 4.2 is something the market is willing to handle, even with equities continuing to go higher. So that's what we got right now in the context of PPI. Okay, so that's PPI. Jobless claims as well. Thank you for bringing that up. We have that as well. So the next piece of macro news is jobless claims. The number of people claiming unemployment benefits in the U.S. fell by 1,000 to 209,000 in the week March 8th, ending below expectations of 218,000. So the market thought we would have 218,000 unemployment benefit claims. We had 209,000. And it was revised down to 1,000. Not that big of a deal. I mean, it's still in that kind of 200 to 220,000 range. So nothing crazy. This is what the market would expect, especially if unemployment's going up to 3.9%. Now, if we saw this was above expectations, like, we expected 218 and we had 250 or 230, then I would say, okay, maybe unemployment's becoming a broader issue here. But if we're in line with expectations and actually below from 209 to 218, unemployment is not necessarily increasing, which is a good thing, obviously, because consumers need jobs to be able to pay for things. The stock market needs to have people willing to buy products and services. So right now, unemployment data was not that bad. I think that also coupled with PPI, unemployment not being horrible, PPI being a little bit more, hotter than expected. You put those two together and you kind of get a 0.25% raise in the pre-markets versus a 1% down or 1% up, kind of stuck in the middle, slightly bullish, but not super, super bearish. So there we go. PPI, not too bad. And unemployment, not too bad as well. Oak says, what's up, Amit? Oak, thank you for being here. What's up? Good morning. Good morning to everybody. If you're just joining in, PPI came in a little hotter than expected, but not enough to get the markets upset. Okay, let's talk about Palantir. Let's do Palantir, and then we'll get into Robinhood. Let's talk about Palantir, then we will get into Robinhood. So first of all, put in the chat if you saw the Palantir interview. I'm not going to play it because I don't know if you guys noticed last night, but I played a little bit of it on the stream, on the market close, and then the whole stream got copyrighted for like a good 4 hours until YouTube got rid of the copyright claim because they got rid of the whole segment. And I don't know, that usually never happens. So I kind of don't want to play that interview in particular because I definitely don't want this to get copyright because people were looking for the market close and it just disappeared for 4 hours. So I'm gonna walk you guys through a couple of quotes that he said, and obviously if you want to go to my Twitter, then you'll see the videos of him speaking. But let's go through a couple of quotes because I think Alex Karp yesterday basically just proved to everybody in that interview. If you haven't watched that interview, it's on Palantir's YouTube channel. You've got to watch this thing. I mean, it was one of the most incredible interviews I've seen in the context of a CEO, basically telling the world, hey, you don't really understand what's going on, and because you don't understand what's going on, you will be regretting what happens in the future. And you should take us a lot more seriously. And as a result, the stock went up when he said it. The stock went up almost 2% off that because I think a lot of investors were watching that interview and realized that he knows what he's talking about here. We'll talk about SoundHound as well. We'll talk about SoundHound in a little bit. Okay, so here's what Karp said. Here's some quotes from the CNBC interview. Karp said, a couple years ago, we were just doing 70 to 90 pilots a year. Now we are doing 20x that amount with boot camps. When asked what has led to the 20x, Karp said, we're just showing people the value. Another quote, executives in the US are using Palantir, calling their business executive friends overseas and telling them to buy Palantir software, basically saying, hey, if you're an executive in the United States and you have, C-suite executive friends all across the world in the business, in the context of business and all these different enterprises, they are actively recommending Palantir software. It's like the best word of mouth marketing you could ever imagine from these C-suite executives recommending the software. And then this was the quote that I think really got everyone to get very, very, very excited about what's going on with Palantir. Karp says, I love burning the short sellers. Like almost nothing makes a human happier than taking the lines of coke away from these short sellers. He's talking about cocaine, not the drink, that are going to short on a truly great American company. They love pulling down American companies so they can pay for their coke. The best thing that can happen for them is we leave their coke dealers to their homes after they can't pay their bills, aka margin called. Do your thing. We will do our thing. This quote to me, now this quote brought some controversy. Okay. As you can see, this tweet got 200,000 views, 1,000 likes. A lot of people had a lot to say on this tweet. Let me present the bearish case on this tweet, and then I'll present the bullish case on this tweet. So the bearish case is what Brofesco Joe says right here in the chat. Not sure about that. Tough talk usually means you're covering up for something. I actually saw this take. I was surprised to see this take as heavily as I did. Also, we got to talk about the Tesla community this morning. Forget the stock. The Tesla community has found a new enemy that they want to go after. And so I'm going to write this down right now to remind myself to talk about that. We got to talk about these guys. They are hungry to, I think the stock is down so much. They're very hungry to latch onto something, to break it down. So we'll talk about the new obsession these guys have. I'm part of the Tesla community, by the way, but I think some of the Uber bulls are being a little crazy. So Brofesco Joe says, not sure about that. Tough talk means you're covering up for something. A lot of people said this on Twitter last night. Oh, he's talking about the short sellers and burning them because the company is not performing that well, or it's just like, bravado, it's cockiness. It's not really, there's no substance to what Karp is saying. And to me, I think those people didn't watch the entire interview, because that came at the very end. The first 13 minutes of the interview was simply Karp saying, we are winning and people are buying our software because we're showing them the value. And like, I don't need to go into the whole spiel. Everyone who's been in Palantir knows that Palantir provides value. They charge money later. And that's the beauty of the product. It's like someone who comes to your home and says, hey, I'm going to, redo the plumbing. Instead of you paying them first, they actually fix the plumbing and you test it and then you pay them and you're happy to pay them because the plumbing is fixed. There's no issues, right? That's what Palantir is. And I think that's what he talked about for the first 13 minutes, which is the whole emphasis on boot camps. At the very end, Sarah Eisen, really good CNBC host, she's like, so what do you think about the shorts? And that's when Karp brings out the hammer and says, dude, these guys are shorting an American company that's fighting for American values, that's trying to help enterprises grow. And a lot of times short selling is justified, right? Because companies are a fraud. Palantir is not a fraud. So going short on Palantir, he takes it personal, which he should as a CEO of the public. Like if this is your company, you should take it personal if someone's willing to actively hope for your demise. Not just like they want you to fail. They want you to crash and burn so that they can profit simply because of their greed, because in the words of Karp, they're high on coke. So I think there's two things to this. Number one, I don't think it was just confidence and bravado. I think it was confidence and bravado in the context of execution of their numbers, which I think we're seeing right now. AIPCon, stock going up, institutional ownership, price target upgrades, all that stuff is happening at this moment. It's a whirlwind for Palantir that's allowing them to execute on this. Number two, I think you need a CEO to talk the way that he's talking. If you don't have a CEO actively accentuating and communicating the messages in the way that he's doing, you're not going to get people to really fall in love with that CEO. I mean, at the end of the day, this is, as a CEO, you are building a cult, and you have to build a cult in the most sophisticated way possible. And to do that, sometimes you got to throw some lines out there that gets the cult excited, that gets people excited, that gets people to be like, damn, I really like investing in this guy. My raw reaction when I saw what Karp tweeted last night and, or what Karp said in the interview, and I tweeted this last night, and I would love to know what everyone else's raw reaction was just that he's having fun. Do you guys remember that Elon interview a couple of, I think in like 2018, where someone was short Tesla, and at a conference, they literally said, hey, what do you think about Tesla? Like, I'm to be public, to be honest, I'm short your company. And Elon was like, oh, you're short Tesla? Man, that's going to hurt. I think this was his moment on that CNBC stream. I said he's enjoying it because he knows how good he is, how much better than the company is, and how he's having fun. You only get to say short sellers are high on coke when you know how well your company is executing. Karp does not want to get up there on Q1 earnings after saying the short sellers are high on coke and then show really crappy numbers. Like, that's just not who he is. He's a winner. He wins. He puts up results. Peter Thiel, they put up results. And so I walked away from the Karp interview feeling more bullish, wanting to buy more Palantir shares, believing that this is absolutely the guy to run the company, understanding what Karp said in the context of how he believes the trajectory of the company will be over the next 5 years. Again, saying that people don't understand how crucial their software will be for the entire enterprise. He gave examples of supply chains, logistics. He talked about Japan, Panasonic. I mean, there was really good substance to that interview. And I think a lot of shorts are going to be scared to short Palantir given that interview. So super, super exciting interview. And I thought it was very, very exciting to see what it would look like. Profesco Joe says his tough talks as a matches appearance have another face of the company to do that. Yeah, I would disagree. I think that Karp's talking tough, and he's not trying to aggressively be tough. It was just in that moment. If you give him an alley, he's going to oop, right? It's not like he's actively going out of his way to make the entire interview about short sellers, right? It's just for that 30 seconds. He was like, yeah, these guys are high on coke because they're shorting a company that's up 400% from the lows, 200% after DPO, almost 50, 60% year to date. Maybe their shorts aren't necessarily the best idea. And I think as a CEO, as a public company, you're allowed to say that, right? Now, the suits might be thinking that that's totally unprofessional. I think that's why people like Palantir, dude. People do not want some cookie cutter CEO that goes on CNBC. CNBC is already so fucking boring. You want something exciting. You need to capture attention, which means you need to take a risk by saying things that are not controversial for the hell of it, but saying things that have a stance, that give you a particular affiliation that does isolate people on the other side. But the good thing is you're going to get people that are on your side because you actually stand for something. And Karp having these moments, I think, is what allows people to stand with him, especially retail investors, because we like when he does that stuff. We like when he actually calls people out. The new generation of investors want to see that. And so that's what we had on Palantir. Really exciting interview. And I thought it was a great, great appearance by Alex Karp. Okay, let's talk about Robinhood. Robinhood right now, $19.10 in the pre-market. It's up 11%. What happened with Robinhood, and why is Robinhood doing well in the pre-markets? Well, yesterday we followed this live on the market close. So if you were there, we kind of saw this played out. The TLDR, I had a very long post on Twitter last night that I posted. I will put it in the chat. If anyone wants to read the whole thing, you can. I will give you the TLDR. The TLDR is that Robinhood February numbers were spectacular. And we'll talk about Dollar General in a second. And those numbers, I think, kind of proved to the street, especially because they just got a price target of $30 by Bernstein that initiated coverage. Dude, I did not think we were going to get a $30 price target today. I did not think that was going to happen. That did happen. So why did they get the price target upgrade? They added 130,000 new accounts last month. Now, remember, 130,000 new users is not just like, oh, they signed up for Instagram. To get a new account, a net cumulative funded account, they have to actually sign up, put in their social security, attach their bank account, and then put in at least $1 into Robinhood. Like, that is a long process to get someone to sign up for a brokerage app, right? That's why the cost per acquisition is so high, because once you get them in, if you do a decent job, they're going to give you a lot of money. That ARPU is going to get closer to $80 to $100, which they peaked at $137 in 2021. So if a user is worth $137 for them, they're going to pay a decent amount to get them onto the platform. They added 130,000 of those users. A lot of them being, I think, individuals that are, middle class because they have that 4% or 3% match on the 401k. Then they added $3.6 billion in deposits. That's huge. They now have $7.4 billion in deposits this quarter with 1 month left. Last quarter, they only had $4.6 billion. They basically have double that in 2 months. That means if they bring in $3 billion next month, they're going to have a $10 billion quarter, which they haven't done since Q1 2021. Equities trading volume, this is what I think exploded the stock, is up 36%. They have not had an $80 billion quarter since the end of 2021 in the context of trading volumes. That means how many equities are actually traded on the platform. We saw Vlad said the other day that 24-hour market, right? That 24-hour market is exploding. I mean, he wasn't lying about that. You got equity trading volume up 36% in a month, by the way, not in a quarter, in a month. Then Q1's going to crush. And then crypto volumes went from 5.9 billion to 6.5 billion. So that's the TLDR on the top line numbers. I'll go deeper into it later after the bell, and we'll talk even more in depth. But those numbers basically got Bernstein to be like, wait a second, why do we not have more of this stock, or why is the stock priced so low? So Bernstein right here, this came out right after the earnings. I did not expect them to say this, but they did it. They said price target set to 30. Robinhood's profit has supported a structural cost cut and interest income, helping to establish a path towards online broker peers' margins. They also go on further to say they believe the crypto market, they also said Bitcoin to 150,000 the other day. They believe crypto will be worth about $3 trillion, the overall market cap. As a result of that, Robinhood can basically 9x their revenue. Oh, sorry. They believe it's going to be worth about 7.5 trillion in the coming 3 to 4 years, which means Bitcoin will be close to about 3 trillion, right? That's the double from now. Right now, Bitcoin about 1.5 trillion. And then Robinhood should, as a result, 9x their crypto revenues. So in the context of the crypto market increasing, Robinhood being in a prime situation to take advantage of that. And then these overall numbers, I mean, there you go. $30 price target. You got a bunch of people now starting to be more excited about Robinhood. And so that is what's happening. Amit, this is because of the one hood share that you bought. That is what's happening right now with Robinhood, and that's what's getting people really excited. What's also really interesting about this is on the market close yesterday, we were up 2%. We were up at 1750. I was very happy. I was like, dude, 1750, up 2%. These are great numbers. The street's reacting. Amazing. Then it went to 3. Then it went to 4. And then we hit $18. And I was like, okay, that's amazing. $18, like that's incredible. Then we went to 1820, and I was like, that's great. 1850, and I was like, the whole thing started playing out, and then we crossed 19, and I'm just sitting there like, wait a second, this is institutions. We don't move 11% in a day on a 900 million float, share float, a company based off retail. I think retail is going to get very excited for this company, and I think today. The question is this going to hold? I think this will hold. Yes, there will be a little dump. People will take some profits, but I think it's holding, dude, because I think retail figured it out. I think they're going to see Robinhood as a Coinbase number 2, right? Coinbase went up 700% from the lows, still going higher. Coinbase right now in the pre-markets is down a little bit, 1%. But I mean, it was at $30. Now it's at 250, 249. I think they're going to be like, Robinhood was at $8. This thing can't get to 30. Like, of course it can get. I mean, I absolutely can get there, especially with the growth that they just showed in February. So retail will chase this. They will jump in. I think that will happen. And even if they jump in right now, I still think the company is undervalued. Look, they're going to open at a market cap of like 16, 17 billion, take away 5 billion of cash. Companies worth 12, 13 billion enterprise value. The numbers I saw yesterday more than justify 12 to 13 billion enterprise value, especially because they're GAAP profitable as well. And they're only going to increase their net income. So I think the 12% boost we're seeing right now is the street was like, holy crap, we need to capitalize on this. This is absolutely a crypto play. Let's buy up as much as we can. And they bought the shares at 17, 18 bucks as it was running after hours. And now we got price targets at 30 bucks. And so that's what we got in the context of Robinhood. Congrats to everyone who's in Robinhood and who took advantage of this one. We'll see how it plays out. But so far, so good. And now we just got to see how they execute over the next coming weeks. March 26th, they have the credit card event. So that's going to be another stream of income and revenue that I think they're going to execute on that product really well because like they understand the credit markets from their acquisition of X1. And if that's the case, then there you go. There's even more revenue coming in for Robinhood and another way for them to grow. And so it'll be exciting to see how that plays out. Okay, so that was the update on Robinhood. We'll talk more about it after the market, the market open as well. Or sorry, the bell when like at 9:30 is what I'm trying to say. Laser says, Amit, how many shares of Robinhood do you own? I have a pretty decent position. Obviously, you guys know I double down a lot on Robinhood. I forget double down. I triple down on this thing. So we'll see, how it plays out. But I got a big position. Not really into shares, more on the option side for this position because I think there is, a lot of short-term momentum that can happen here. It's big. It's a big position, and we'll see how it plays out. This is one of those bets where I'm like, all right, you don't really make money by diversifying. You have to take asymmetric bets, solidify, and then when you generate some real money, you can then diversify and protect it. But at this age, at this stage that I'm at, I'm trying to go for it. And so Robinhood is one of the ones that I'm really trying to go for. And I think the thesis will play out, but we got, the rest of the year to see how it will play out. Archer says, rest in peace. The market pullback is incoming. Look, I thought pullback was coming off of that PPI. I don't know, Archer. And if we do get a pullback, whatever, we could get it. But that PPI, for those that are just joining, 1.6 versus 1.1, it definitely took the market down a little bit. We're not officially red. And look, individual equities might still be fine, even if the broader indices are down because of that PPI. But so far, the PPI was not horrible to get the markets to get super upset, right? Even though some parts of the market were upset. So we'll see how that plays out as soon as the market opens. SoundHound is up 10% in the pre-market. It was up 24% yesterday. I don't know why the stock is up. I have no clue. I have no freaking clue why SoundHound is up, dude. I have no, I know some people here are chasing it. Look, I hope you make money off it. I really, really do, but I have no clue. I think they're going to announce something with NVIDIA at the GTC conference, which might be pumping it, but this seems like retail kind of meme frenzy. I tried to look up some news last night. I can find nothing about why SoundHound is up. SoundHound already was up like 200%, right? Then they had a good earnings, but not enough to justify the valuation. They fell back down. Now they're getting back up to that pre-earnings level, I guess, because people are just buying into it when it comes to AI. BBAI as well, Big Bear. This one is up 21% in the pre-market. Another one that is continuing to gain momentum, the AI hype that we're seeing. Let me look them up real quick. Any news? Yeah, no news on them. Oh, no, they got a new price target. That's it. But nothing. There's nothing real fundamental. Like Robinhood had to put up numbers to get their earnings bump. These guys are just, capitalizing on AI. So if you're chasing them, just be a little careful with this because it can go negative. When you don't expect it, because there's just nothing for why it's continuing to go higher. So you just have to be a little careful on that. Okay, Tesla. Let's talk about Tesla. Tesla. So first of all, let me ask this question to the chat. Who's buying the dip on Tesla? Who's buying the dip? We had a long conversation last night on Finance Junkies about Tesla. UBS has further downgraded Tesla. So now they went from 225 to 164. And obviously Wells Fargo went from 200 to 125. So you're going to see price target downgrades start for Tesla. You're going to see a lot more people start to be more bearish on Tesla. And this is kind of what the herd does, right? Robinhood, everyone's bullish right now. Why are they bullish? Because, the numbers are in the right direction. Tesla, everyone thinks the numbers are in the wrong direction. So you're going to get more bearishness. Let's get an update on why Wells Fargo downgraded them. And then we'll talk about what's happening because there's a lot of different components to the Tesla story right now.
Is getting hit with a big downgrade to underweight from equal weight over at Wells Fargo, citing numerous headwinds ahead. The firm expects volume to disappoint and also lowered its price target from $200 a share to $125. Here's the analyst who made that call, Colin Langan. Phil also on the line with us. Colin, welcome. Good to see you. I'm curious, what is the market share of Tesla in the U.S. Among total automobile sales, auto and truck sales, and among EV sales? What kind of share do they have?
They're very small into the overall market. They're very large in EVs. What we're seeing, and that was the point of our report today, is that we're actually looking at the impact of the price cuts are surprisingly low at this point. We saw volume actually, if you look at first half to second half globally, up just 3%, and pricing was down 5%. And that's really what driving our lower deliveries. We're expecting deliveries to be about flat this year. Because we're really expecting more limited ability to cut price. Otherwise, you're going to hit a point where you're not very profitable anymore.
So you cut price, you hope volume will increase, but you're not seeing the kind of volume increase that is commensurate with the price cuts. What about this Model 2 that they expect to bring out in 2025? Is it going to be a game changer, or is it too little too late here?
Well, I think that was the other part of our report today. We were looking at the potential for Model 2. And one of the things that really is concerning to me is that it's different from other launches. This is a mass market priced SUV. That's going to be very tough to do. The actual, if you go to an internal combustion engine, compact vehicle today, they're not very profitable. You add on an e-powertrain, you're probably starting off at a losing point. And then if you're then really betting on this unboxed production, which is the new manufacturing methodology they plan on launching with the Model 2. That's a bit of a wild card. It's just never been done before, and we still estimate you need most of those benefits to come through to get this to profit levels that we're seeing on their current vehicles.
So basically saying that $25,000 car, they don't see the profitability on it. And as a result of that, they are downgrading the stock because they think there's major headwinds. Obviously, interest rates not being high or being too high is also bad for Tesla. Now, this is what I tweeted yesterday, and I still stand by this. The Tesla dip seems like peak fear. When the big boys are telling you to sell Tesla, it always tends to be for a reason. And the reason tends to be that they end up buying your Tesla shares. Now, having said that, I do believe that the technicals on this chart are ugly and that this bad boy can fall further, potentially hitting that 140 to 145-ish range. That is possible. But it definitely does feel like, just like ask yourself what's going on around Tesla. Almost everyone you see sounds bearish, and maybe they're bearish for the right reasons. Maybe Q1 is not going to be the best. We know the margins are probably not bottomed out yet. We know the volumes and deliveries, they didn't give any guidance probably because they knew it was going to be bad. We know the Berlin factory is having issues. but it's Elon Musk. And I don't mean to say that in a naive way. Elon tomorrow can announce something. Elon can put on an event. They can put out a different update that just inspires people, gets people excited, gets the street to be like, man, why do we not own more of this of this stock? And I don't know if we see this $100 price that we saw. People want to always talk about the January 2023 $100 price. Yeah, the S&P was at 3,400 when that happened. Right. So like it wasn't just Tesla. It was Palantir was at $6. So when it got to $100, it was not a Tesla thing. It was in part a Tesla thing. It was a broader market thing. The broader market has rallied. Obviously, Tesla's not performed. That's why investors are upset. But to say goods back to those levels, I just don't think that personally happens. And if it does, I think it will be the greatest dip opportunity of a lifetime. If we get back to 100, if we get back to 120, because we all know what the potential of Tesla is. The problem is Q1 in the short term is going to be some noisy. So I think all of us as, Tesla or anyone who's bullish on Tesla can recognize that in the next few months, yeah, it can get lower. Yeah, maybe Elon's not in the best headspace given all the stuff he's tweeting. And like, yes, there's all these kind of random bear cases, but that's not a reason for why the company eventually will not be fine in the next year or two. And so this is a good dip buying opportunity. Now, do we get to 125? I don't think so. I just don't think that happens. I think that's a little too quick or a little too low for what it would play out like. So that's what we got going on in the world of Tesla. Crazy says, is this a be greedy when others are fearful? I think it's a be greedy in a strategic sense. Like if you have $20,000 you want to put into Tesla, I do not think you put $20,000 at 167. I think you slowly go in. If you have to buy a little higher, then whatever. But this is one of those situations where, like, if Palantir fell to 19 today, I would say if you have $20,000, I personally, if I had 20,000 of disposable income, I would just dump it all in at $19, right? Because that would be such an aggressive dip. $18, that would be ridiculous. I wouldn't wait to scale in because it's like when they fell to $15.95 in November after they were massively performing. And a lot of people bought that dip, and that dip went to 17 immediately because people were like, we would love Palantir at $15.95. For Tesla, I don't think you need to love it at 169 because things can get a little rough and it can keep falling, right? So it's not one of those things that you just dump everything into, but you kind of slowly DCA into that broader dip that might end up happening. Now, that was the Tesla stock. We also have to talk about the Tesla community. I am flabbergasted and perplexed at what the Tesla community is doing because they don't have their stock going higher. Warren Redlick, he's a fan of the channel. Anything I'm saying here, I would say to his face. I've interviewed him on the channel. He knows, how I feel about the Tesla community sometimes being a little too intense. He is going on a rampage about that figure video that I showed you guys yesterday, where the robot is literally doing the dishes and talking to you. It's being powered by OpenAI's LLMs that are training the neural nets in that robot. I thought no one could possibly say that video is not impressive. If you're just a lover of technology, you would say that video is impressive, right? Forget Figure, forget Tesla. You would just think like, wow, that's like, it's amazing that humanity is getting to this point where a robot can do stuff like this. Warren says it's a scam. The bot is saying, and he thinks that ChatGPT is not allowed to say, Notice he's not recognizing that they fine-tuned the voice on the robot to sound more human-like. Like very basic levels of due diligence you could have searched up to realize why it's saying why the robot is stuttering. It's a fine-tuned AI voice. It's not just a Siri that can't say anything, quite frankly, much less stutter. So he's upset about that. And then I saw some other people say that someone else tweeted they said it's not impressive. And the reason they said it's not impressive is because they said, it's just an OpenAI LLM attached to a robot. So anyone can do this. Tesla can attach the OpenAI robot, or Tesla can attach LLMs, and then the robot can start talking. So I think personally that these claims from some of these Tesla bulls is becoming quite ridiculous. And I think if you are a Tesla bull, you really need to be careful to not get trapped into this. And the reason I'm saying this is because, yes, your stock is down. But just because your stock is down does not mean you get to call a fraud on another company. You get to, publicly defame, even though it's not a legal thing. But like there's a lot of these Tesla people that are just like shitting on this startup that's trying to make humanoid robotics real because they perceive it as a competitive threat to Tesla. Rather than complaining about Elon and some of the issues he has for why the Tesla stock is not doing the best, they're going after like vultures, a different startup that is literally just expanding the TAM for Tesla. That's it. They're expanding the TAM for Tesla. So, I mean, it's incredible to see how that's actually playing out, but they are pretty upset, not necessarily, the most excited for what's going on with Tesla. And that's leading to a little bit more, I guess, pain for some of these people that are invested in Tesla. We got the Starship launch. I'm pulling that up in a second. I know it's launching in 5 minutes, so I'll have it live, so we'll be able to watch it. I'll definitely have it live as well. Let me just get the right channel. Okay, here we go. Yahoo Finance. Got it. Okay, cool. So I'll pull it up in like 2 minutes and then we'll watch together. But overall, when I saw a lot of these concerns yesterday, it just felt like you're complaining about the thing stuttering. You're saying that, oh, Tesla's going to make mass robotics, so it doesn't matter. Oh, this is easy to do. Like, dude, if this was so easy to do, I think Tesla would have put out that video. It's not easy stuff. Humanoid robotics is a very hard thing to do. There's a reason NVIDIA, OpenAI, Amazon, Jeff Bezos personally invested in the startup. I don't know if the startup's going to win. Maybe it fails, right? Maybe it crashes and burns. But to say that it's Theranos is just a little like, it's a reach. And it's like, this is what I love about the Palantir community. We don't get delusional. Some of these guys are like calling this thing the next Theranos. I'm like, Theranos never showed off their product. Like the thing never actually took your blood and gave you a reading of if you have diabetes or like, it was all a scam. They're showing you the robot doing this shit. And they're still trying to find a way to make it a scam. It's weird. It's very, very weird for how a lot of people are framing this stuff. But I guess that's what's happening right now. Brighter with Herbert did a really good job covering it. Yeah, Brighter with Herbert is an amazing Tesla bull, and he's super excited for robots, not only for Figure. He's excited for Tesla Optimus. Figure doing this just brings out the TAM. If you're a Tesla shareholder, you should be ecstatic for this because it means Tesla's going to work even harder to build a really good robot, which is a $100 trillion TAM. I know that sounds crazy, but I did a video with Cern Basher the other day, who's an expert on humanoid robotics. Dude, he doesn't get emotional. He watched that video yesterday on that Brighter with Herbert stream. If you go to his channel, he was crying live. Like the dude is like one of the most robotic, ironically, guys who speaks about the future of humanoid robotics. He was crying because that's how emotional he got from that video. So, I mean, it's a big deal, and I think it's going to be the future of humanity. But a lot of people in the Tesla community are just like weirdly toxic about it, which is, I don't know, it's not the best. All right, let's get a little bit of update on Starship. I think it's launching in like 2 minutes.
Get us to that glorious, rapid, reusable future that we so badly want.
Yeah, for flight 1, we wanted to clear the pad, and we did. For flight 2, we wanted to get through hot staging separation, and we did. So today, we want to get even further than that and collect as much data as we possibly can. So with all that being said, we're going to check back in with Dan to take us through the final 2 minutes of terminal count.
All right, we are under 2 minutes away. We have closed out the prop load on the booster and on the ship. And we're starting to hear some good news that it looks like winds are not going to hold us up. So there's a good chance we blow right through that 40-second hold. So we're about a and in the last 5 ignite just 2 minutes before T0, and then after that the quick disconnect will retract. The engines will start to throttle up, and then we'll see liftoff about 1.5 seconds after T0. So we're under a minute away. Don't be shocked if we hold at 40 seconds before, but it sounds like the winds are cooperating today. We'll be able to move right past that, not tracking any other technical issues that could hold us.
Proceeding past our QD vent gate.
Through the QD vent gate past the 40-second hold.
Go for launch.
Flight Director Ty Huntington telling the team we are go for launch. So 20 seconds to go. Let's listen in.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nominal.
30 seconds into flight, we are feeling the rumble. We are seeing 33 out of 33 Raptor engines ignited on the Super Heavy booster.
Booster and ship, avionics, power, and telemetry nominal. acquisition of signal, Corpus Christi.
Continuing to get good call outs. Our trajectory looking nominal, systems looking nominal. Just amazing to see all 33 lit up once again. At this point, we've already passed through max Q, that maximum dynamic pressure, and passing supersonic. So we're now moving faster than the speed of sound, getting those onboard views from the ship cameras. Now, the next major milestone is going to be a hot staging maneuver. Again, we're going to be doing that in just about 90 seconds. To do that, we're going to shut down all but the 3 center Raptor engines on Super Heavy. That'll be our MECO, our most engines cut off. And then the clamps holding the 2 stages together are going to release. Starship's second stage will ignite its engines, the RVACs first, the sea levels right after that. The sea level engines will be splayed or just kind of pointed out at about a 15-degree angle. So if you look close and we get good tracking, you might be able to see those center right after. And so those 6 engines will push Starship off of the booster.
This is pretty incredible, guys. This is just amazing.
All right, counting down now. We're going to be coming up right at around the 3-minute mark on that hot staging maneuver. Again, we'll see the booster engines start to shut down. You'll see all but 3 lights go out in the middle. And then we'll see the engines ignite on ship, pushing it away. And that will start carrying the ship into space. Booster will start to do its flip and then move into the boost back burn, setting it up for eventual splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico.
Stage separation.
Wow. This is their 3rd test flight.
Hot staging confirmed. Boosters now making its way back, seeing 6 engines ignited on ship. Kate, we got a Starship on its way to space and a booster on the way back to the Gulf.
Oh man, I need a moment to pick my jaw up from the floor because these views are just stunning. These are live views from Starship. First stage is currently performing the
ship avionics, power and telemetry nominal.
Good there, news informing us that the second stage or the ship, everything looking good, nominal there. First stage is currently performing the boost back burn, expecting that to last about 1 minute. That boost back burn, propels the booster back towards the coast, taking it to a landing in the waters of the Gulf of Mexico. We're only using the Super Heavy boosters, 13 center engines from here on out. As whenever they relight, you'll be able to see that in the left bottom corner. Those are the ones that can gimbal. In other words, they move and change direction in order to change the thrust to steer the first stage back to Earth.
Guys, let's watch this since the market open. Obviously, this is really exciting. If it gets
These
past
are just
the
incredible
stage, it'll be
views
really
coming to us.
If it keeps going and it's a success, it's a big, big, big deal.
Everything is looking good for both the first stage on the left-hand side of your screen or the Super Heavy booster, as well as on the right-hand side of your screen, that is Starship, or we also refer to that as the ship. Now, the boost back burn was the first of 2 burns required to return it to Earth. The next one will be the landing burn, where all 13 center engines will initially ignite and then transition into a 3-engine burn to help slow it down. Now, just as a reminder of the stage 1 test objectives, we're looking for controlled ascent, which we have so far. Stage separation, which gorgeous, we cruised right through it, as well as
on a nominal trajectory.
Good news there telling us that the path that Starship is on is good. Now, Starship's second stage is still firing its engines, and as you heard, following planned flight path, the ship objectives, we're looking for hot staging, again, cruised right through that. We're looking to demonstrate controlled ascent as well as orbital insertion. Now, the bottom right-hand corner of the screen shows the ship engine graphics, so be sure to keep an eye on those.
Yeah, Kate, this is just a phenomenal test so far. Super Heavy is performing beautifully today. It's on its return leg of the journey. ship continuing to burn its 6 engines, those larger circles, the Raptor vacuum engines, the inner circles, the Raptor sea level engines. We're about 30 seconds away, just under 30 seconds away from the start of the boost back burn. Excuse me, the landing burn on the booster. You can see the grid fins rotating. Those hypersonic grid fins are guiding us through the atmosphere back towards our splashdown site. Again, we're going for a splashdown, a soft splashdown. So for landing burn, we're going to expect to see the 13 center engines light, rapidly bring down the booster's velocity, and then just the 3 in the center for splashdown. Let's see if that'll work. We're getting a few engines. And acquisition of signal. Let's see if we can get some other video of that. Now, this is a test objective today. It is still something that we're attempting to learn. And to make it that far, to demonstrate the controlled re-entry up to that point is pretty darn good. Ship continuing to look nominal with its ascent burn. This burn lasting about 6 minutes total. And we're expecting that this burn will end just after T+8 minutes, about a minute from now. So far, though, I mean, congrats to the team. Making it this far is farther than we've gone
Absolutely.
on Flight 2. Just wonderful views and great engine performance from the vehicles. So far, we've hit controlled ascent. We're in the middle of that right now. We demonstrated the hot staging. Kate, as you said, cruised through that. We demonstrated controlled entry of the booster. Just stopped a little short of the engine relight, but hey, that's something we can learn for the next one.
Yeah. Now that view that we just had moments ago was a live shot of Star Command. There you see it again. This is our mission control center at Starbase, where vehicle operators are standing by. Now the next milestone coming up is in less than a minute. At that point, ship will, or I'm sorry, actually it already has.
Starship engine cut off.
There we go. As you heard there by the call out and from the crowd behind us, Starship's 6 Raptor engines have successfully shut down. We heard a call out for nominal orbital insertion, which is incredible. Look at these views, Dan.
I'm just completely blown away right now. What a day. Congratulations to the entire SpaceX team. I mean, this flight pretty much just started, but we're farther than we've ever been before. We've got a Starship not just in space, but on its coast phase into space. Just to recap where we've come, and it's only been 9.5 minutes. How has it only been 9.5 minutes? We lifted off right on time at 8:25 a.m. We didn't have to hold at our gate at all. We had 33 out of 33 Raptor engines open up and light and get us through a nominal ascent. Another successful hot stage. All 6 engines on the ship propelling us into orbit. We did see what looked like a nominal boost back burn. And then we did make it all the way to the landing burn this time. Didn't light all the engines that we expected, and we did lose the booster. We'll have to go through the data to figure out exactly what happened, obviously. So be on the lookout for information about that. But wow, a ship in space. We've got a bunch of, as we said, ambitious objectives ahead of us. Over the next couple of minutes and pretty much over the next hour, where we're going to we've got the ship in space. We're now going to take advantage of this and try and learn as much as possible about some of the other systems, including that first ever Raptor relight in space. So it's just going to be incredible. So all of that still to come. The mission just started, but wow.
All right, let's get into the market. Pretty exciting stuff. We'll check on that in a couple of minutes, but the fact that they're doing it and they've gone further than they've ever gone, huge congrats to SpaceX. And that's kind of why you don't want to bet against Elon, because he's going to pull shit off like that, and it's just going to be incredible to see how that plays out. All right, what do we have going on right now in the markets? Folks, we're looking at a little bit of a dip right now here in the equity market. So Big Bear, that's up 8%. S&P's up 0.17%. Robinhood 1848. It was at 1920 in the pre-markets, falling to 1848. That's actually very reasonable. People are taking profits. They're dumping. This is a dip that I think a lot of institutions and retail is probably going to be like, all right, this is my time to get in on this. Could it fall lower? Sure. But it's up 8% right now. Obviously, people were going to take some profits. The fact that it's holding this 1840 level to me is absolutely incredible, given it was at 1720 yesterday. Coinbase is down 4%. So Coinbase being down and Robinhood being up, that's also a really interesting thing. Palantir 2493 fell from 25. Snowflake down about 0.1%. We have to ring the bell. Yes, the market is now open. There we go. Market's open. SoundHound is up 14%. So that one's going up. NVIDIA, we got some breaking news on NVIDIA, why NVIDIA is down. And I know it's above 900, but it's not 930 like it was yesterday. The breaking news on NVIDIA here is Reuters is reporting Intel, Qualcomm, Google executives, etc., saying they plan to build a AI software dominance through a UXL foundation to challenge NVIDIA's lead in the semiconductor space. I don't know exactly what that means, but the market's interpreting that as competition is coming for NVIDIA. Now, will it actually come? Who knows, right? If we'll actually see some competition like that. But NVIDIA right now, 904, down a little bit here in the pre-markets. UiPath, they had a decent earnings, 30% year-over-year growth. They were up 12%, then down 12%. Today, they're flat. So really, their earnings didn't give them a bump or didn't give them too much of a decline, down about 1% in the pre-markets. SMCI up 0.42%. Ethereum 3,800. Bitcoin, I'm imagining Bitcoin's probably down a little bit. Bitcoin right here 72,000, down from 73. So Bitcoin is down. Enphase, wow, 115. That's down 1.9%. We haven't seen Enphase below 120 in a little bit. I know it was 118 yesterday, but it's been holding that 125 range. So now we're seeing 115. Rocket Lab, $4.28. I would imagine Rocket Lab's a little higher after SpaceX successful mission, or at least, decently successful, because the overall space is growing. So Rocket Lab right there, just green, 0.12% higher. Oracle up 1%. They had a great earnings. Google 142, nice rebound from 132. Market's giving some love to Google. Let's look at Mag 7. Apple up 1%. Microsoft up, 2%. Microsoft hasn't seen 422 in a little bit. Google 142, Amazon 177, trying to get to that all-time high. Meta 497, Nvidia down a little bit. Tesla continuing to fall, down 1% at $168 right here on Tesla. PayPal, is PayPal up? Is PayPal up? Oh my goodness, PayPal's up almost 2%. Holy crap, dude. I don't know what's going on with the market to give PayPal this momentum, but they're giving PayPal some love. They're really giving PayPal some love. There you go. PayPal, 63.37. We have not seen a 9% increase in PayPal, which is what we're up this week, in a long time. So there you go. PayPal trying to get to that $65 level. Why is SoFi getting hit? Robinhood, by the way, doing phenomenal, 1850, just being a champ, dude. Being an absolute champ, holding up at 8%. That is absolutely incredible for Robinhood. SoFi better not go below $7. SoFi better not go below $7. You know why I need this thing to not go below $7? Because I wrote some stupid cash secured puts on SoFi expiring tomorrow. And the strike on those puts is $7. If I have to buy SoFi shares under 7, I wouldn't mind. But if I have to buy it, because I said on Monday that these guys are not going to go below 7 by Friday, this is just the worst stock. Like, this is just the most egregious price action I've ever seen on a company. If this thing really is below $7, first of all, big buying opportunity in my opinion, but still, I don't want to have to buy those shares below $7. Okay, I don't want to have to do that. So that would be really annoying to see if SoFi actually goes below 7. But we'll see. Right now, down 3%. I don't know why it's down 3%, but it's down 3%. Market in general is a bit red. Dollar General, their earnings were great. They should be up about 5%. Oh, wow. They were up 5% in the pre-markets. Now they're up 1%. They basically beat analyst expectations on sales. Analysts thought 40 billion. They brought in 44. Revenue beat, EPS beat. We'll get into the numbers in a second, but they had a really good earnings. Way better than Dollar Tree. Consumer is pretty healthy. So Dollar General had a good earnings, but market not giving them the bump. Robinhood being up 8%, even though the entire market's kind of red, is actually a really nice thing to see. We're seeing some real like stability in that stock alone because a lot of these companies are down. TFC is down, Enphase is down, New York Community Bank is down. Let's go to the semis. Where are the semis right now? Semis are down. Broadcom is up a little bit. ASML is up a little bit. SMCI is down. AMD 196. NVIDIA below 900 now. And then ARM somehow up 2%. I guess SoftBank's not dumping their shares yet, or maybe they are and there's enough demand for it. But ARM continuing to gain some momentum as well. PPI, if you're just joining, was hot. PPI was indeed hot. We had PPI come in at 1.6 versus 1.1, and that got the market a little, I guess, scared, even though it's not that bad. But it was a little bit hotter of a PPI, and that's why the market right now is thinking, hey, maybe we need to maybe reprice some of these equities. But overall, it's not like tanking the market, but it was one of those things that made the market think a little bit. Okay, so here are all the Bitcoin stocks. CleanSpark down another 7%. Dude, CleanSpark is an absolute roller coaster if you're on CleanSpark. Amid how many contracts? I sold 4 cash secured puts. 5. So I would have to buy 500 shares of SoFi if this sucker's under 7. I might just roll them. I really don't want to buy them. But I did not think SoFi would be $6 on Friday, dude. Like when SoFi was $7.50, I was like, dude, the premium I got paid is garbage. I got 3 cents per contract. I just did it because like, oh, I'll still get 3 cents, right? It's not that big of a deal. I just didn't think it would get below 7. If it gets below 7, that's just crazy, dude. That would be crazy. So CleanSpark here down 8%. This has been a roller coaster of a stock. I am not in this stock anymore. I still believe the long-term potential of this stock is massive as Bitcoin inches towards $100,000. I just, had some different opportunities I wanted to get into. This one's down 7%, 1579. Coinbase down 4%. Coinbase has run a lot. I get that. MicroStrategy as well, down 5.39%. So, I mean, there's no real reason why it's down. Honestly, Bitcoin fell from 73.5 to 72. That's probably why it's down. A lot of this stuff is cyclical. People taking profits, not that big of a deal. But we are seeing some downside momentum for the crypto stocks. And Marathon's getting hit. Marathon got hit after earnings, and they're getting hit today again, down 7%. So if you're in the Bitcoin miners, you really just got to stay with the cause. And eventually, if you believe in Bitcoin, they will be back. But right now, they're in a tough situation. Yeah, if SoFi does get to that $6 range, I'm gonna hit up TJ and just get him to help me understand how to roll these guys because I don't want to buy SoFi this week. Like I'll buy them later if I really want it at $6. But look, I don't think SoFi goes down 18 cents again to be below $7 by tomorrow. Today's Thursday, right? Today's Thursday. Yeah, I think we are above 7 by tomorrow at 4 p.m. Maybe I'm wrong, but I mean we'll see. Down 2.7% again. Right here. Why is Hood not priced with Coinbase? Coinbase prints net income from their crypto transactions and their fees are insane. Hood does not. Hood does not produce the same level of net income that Coinbase does. Also, Coinbase is just more trusted as a crypto play than Robinhood. Now, I think Robinhood's deeply undervalued and it has a huge crypto element to it, but Coinbase is it is the big guy when it comes to crypto transactions. So now granted, the time to get into Coinbase was at $30 and it could still run, but dude, it's up 700%. There's I don't think there's a ton of juice left. Maybe there's a double left in this thing if Bitcoin goes to 100K. Whereas Robinhood, I think, has a lot of room to run. It's been a name that's been stuck at $8 for 2 years, ton of accumulation. I think there's just more momentum there. And there's other parts of the business that are exciting as well. PayPal up 2.15%. Am I dreaming, dude? Am I literally dreaming right now with PayPal? I feel like I'm dreaming. Guys, we're only down. Let me show you this. We are only down 3,600 on the PayPal options. You guys have seen this thing down 7,000 over the past few weeks. We have recovered about $4,000 of these PayPal options. And it looks like maybe if PayPal keeps doing its thing, we might break even on this. Maybe we'll make some money on it. But this thing is actually moving a little bit. It's actually moving up 2.2%, dude. Now, why is this happening? CFO yesterday, Crossroads is covering this on Twitter. Crossroads, I think I bookmarked one of your tweets actually about this, around what the CFO said. I'm just going to go to your profile. The CFO, oh, here it is. Okay, so let me go to this right here. If you're not following Crossroads on Twitter, highly recommend following him. He is just the absolute expert when it comes to PayPal. Twitter is in the chat. Make sure you follow him. So here's what he said. Here's the summary of what the CFO said at that conference that got people excited. Okay, so I'm reading Crossroads post. What I heard was guidance is overly conservative and PayPal is looking at improving products while driving profitable margin accretive growth. From Miller's comments, there's a decent chance of additional layoffs, product divestment, and more than $5 billion in buybacks. But if those happen, it's later this year. So for guidance, They said revenues will be sandbagged for the top and bottom, branded and unbranded growth, new products first look briefly mentioned, but alluded to, new rollouts such as PPCP, possibly being conservative for the expense guide. Why? Because they have new management. We saw Snowflake doing this, flexibility, and shifting the narrative, which if you underpromise and overdeliver, that will absolutely shift the narrative. PayPal 64, guys. PayPal is now 64. In terms of profitable growth, the focus here is in branded growth, unbranded value proposition, and margin expansion, OpEx efficiency, all the stuff we knew that was going to happen. And then on buybacks were asked about. Miller twice stressed the at least $5 billion, noting that they would reassess later in this year. So Crossroads says, I have the position that I want PayPal already, and I can wait. I'm not adding here. I like the new management. I think Jamie Miller did very good. That said, the market needs to see results. No more misses, no more moved goalposts, just relentless execution. I think Chris can get PayPal there. What's his name? SoFi's CRO is now on PayPal, I believe, as well. So a chief risk officer has moved to PayPal, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, this guy, Aaron Webster. So this dude used to be SoFi's chief risk officer until a month ago, and now he's part of PayPal. This is the guy, by the way, that was selling a crap ton of SoFi at $7.50, $8.30. And I mean, I hate to say it, but there was someone on these streams that was saying, hold on, what's going on? Why is the fucking chief risk officer selling at $8.50? SoFi now down 3%. And I know you're not supposed to make a big deal when insiders sell. Teal just sold 7 million shares. You're not supposed to make a big deal. But when the chief risk officer sells 50% of it, dude, 50, like if Teal sold 50% of Palantir to yesterday, I would say, hey guys, maybe Palantir is in some trouble. Like you don't sell, he sold 5% and he's been holding those shares for almost 20 years. This guy just got these options or RSUs or whatever, or shares like a year ago, selling 50% of it. And now he's gone and he left to PayPal. Like it was a little bit weird, dude. It was very confusing to see that happen. And obviously SoFi has not performed. Now, I don't think there's some massive delinquency or credit risk, which is what the chief risk officer saw. But if he saw something that propelled him to sell the shares, either he wanted a new house or he thought SoFi was in a bad situation. And so, maybe it was a little bit of both, but that did feel weird. And obviously now he's here with PayPal. Robinhood 1833 up 6%, holding strong. Coinbase down 4%. Robinhood being up 6% when everything's dumping. Oh my God, Tesla 166. Holy crap. Everything dumping and Robinhood being up 6% is massive in my opinion. If we can hold 18, I am happy because we need to make the next leg up to 19 sustainably. It wasn't going to happen all today. It takes time, and then eventually 20, and we'll keep going. Obviously, Bitcoin doing well. That's going to be a big catalyst. But the fact that we're there on a pretty red day in the broader market is great. Even Palantir, wow, 24.55. Palantir down 2%. So everyone's getting hit. It's not just, oh my God, Nvidia 882. The whole market's taking a dump right now, guys. SoundHound just went negative. It was up 10%. SoundHound just went negative. MicroStrategy down 7%. Square down 3%. SMCI down 3.3%. HIMS is not him anymore. Down 1.69%. Celsius, oh my God, Celsius is up. So Celsius and Robinhood, my play and Chris's play are like doing all right, and the rest of the market's just tanking, which let's see if it lasts, dude. Let's see if it lasts. I mean, I think there's two things that could happen. Either everything continues to fall, S&P now at 515, or this is a dip, and by 12 p.m., 1 p.m., we're going to see this reverse. Because we've seen this happen so many times. Where we get an intraday dip, and then the market buys it up. People want more NVIDIA. Then there you go. The dip ends up being eaten up. UiPath is getting hammered. Where's UiPath? Let's see. Wow, down 4%. Yeah, that one's getting hit as well. It was up 12% in the pre-market. It's getting hit. Celsius pushing 100. PayPal's up still. Yeah, so some companies that got beat up, like a Celsius, like a Robinhood, like a PayPal, they're doing okay. Now, Celsius, one thing to worry about on Celsius, and I was talking to Chris about this, is their market cap is now half of Monster's, if I'm not wrong. They don't have the growth that Monster particularly has. I mean, Monster's market cap is 63 billion. Celsius market cap is 22 billion. So almost 1/3 of it used to be 1/5 of Monster's. Now it's about 33%. I don't think that means you need to sell it. Their growth is there, but it is like, you got to be a little, this thing is starting to get up. Even Chris was saying, all right, it's starting to get up there right now. Right. So one thing to keep in mind when it comes to Celsius. Spicy says, Amit, you are adding more SoFi shares. Dude, please do not tell me this is going below 7. Oh my God. It is 9 cents away from going below 7, dude. What the freak? How much would it cost me right now if I just closed out those puts? I only paid, I mean, they're pretty cheap. If I had to, I would have to pay $20 to close them out. I would lose $20. I'm going to leave it, dude. Oh my God. Should I take the $20 L and close the puts? Should I take the $20 L and close the puts? Goodness. I did not think I would have to fucking worry about $7 on Friday, dude. I really didn't think I'd have to worry about that. I really thought I was going to be okay for $7 on March 15th, dude. This thing falls below 7. It is absolutely disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting if that happens, dude. Amit, why just not buy them? Because I don't want to buy 500 shares of SoFi. I just want to collect some premium. Like, I don't feel like adding to SoFi right here. Like, I just thought I thought this was easy money. I was like, wait a second. SoFi's not going to go below 7. This is what happens sometimes with these stocks, dude. It's just like, look, I don't have any problem buying them, but I don't want to. I'd rather put that money somewhere else. Like Palantir, I just thought it would be some premium that I would get. You will own SoFi and be unhappy. Oh my God. Why F did you sell a cash secured put? It's just, when you sell a cash secured put, you can just, use your money to make money versus having to buy the actual shares for a company you're long on. So if you do get assigned, you don't care. I just really did not think in my heart of hearts I was going to get assigned these fucking shares. And now it's down I think I'd just take the $20 L, dude, and say, screw it. How much would it cost to close it out? Sell 5 of these contracts. I would have to pay what? 0.07 cents. 0.07. I would have to pay $34. I got 15 in premium. Oh, it's a $15 L. It's not that bad. It's a $15 L. That's not crazy. That's not crazy. Hold on. If I had to buy these, I have to buy these back. 0.0. Oh, they're giving me 0.09. 5 of them. I would have to pay for. Yeah, it's a $15 L. It's a $30 L. It's a $30. Should I do it? Dude, it's 6 cents away from 7. I think I'm doing it. Fuck it. I'll take the $30 L. I don't want to worry about these shares. I'll take the $30 L. This is insane. I can't believe that's it. I don't even want to roll it, dude. I don't want to deal with this. Yeah, buy to close, not sell. All right, here we go. Releasing my collateral. Paying $45. All right. I took the $30 L and I got the money back. I don't want to roll it, dude. I don't feel like rolling it. It's like, if it goes below 7, which let's say it doesn't, whatever. I took a $30 L. It's $30. I don't care. If it goes below 7, this thing has no support. I mean, if it could not hold 710 or 720, are you kidding me, dude? Are you like that's insanity to me. If you can't hold 7, this thing's going much lower. So this is sad, dude, on SoFi. This is just like not what you. Also, by the way, it's not just SoFi. I mean, the whole market's taking a shit right now. So Tesla 165, Nvidia 879. Oof. It's red. Now, look, do we recover by the end of the day? Maybe we could, but it is pretty damn red right now. PayPal actually up somehow. Everyone's going to buy the dip. Let's see. Let's see if they buy the dip. Let's see. I definitely paper-handed that. Yeah, definitely paper-handed that. That's sad, dude. That is sad. Yeah, I don't trust market reactions to events in the pre-market. The thing is, PPI data, if we didn't have the PPI data we had, it would have been a lot better. Even Robinhood now almost falling below $18. Again, if we could hold 18, I would be happy. I would be happy, but it's going to be hard. That's a lot to move in one day. If we didn't have the PPI data we had, I think this would be better. Palantir 2433, but that PPI data definitely was not the best. It was definitely not the best for the broader markets. It was harder. It was harder to justify it. All right, let's get a couple different updates. So we do have Anduril. So this is the new Palantir company, or the new company that's working with Palantir. They said that they were going to have an update today. Palmer Luckey tweeted that last night. Is that update out? Palmer Luckey, let's go to his Twitter page. I don't think it's officially out, but this is what he said. This is what he said yesterday. Take a look at this. Take a look at what he said. He said, we are announcing something bigger, bigger, and biggest tomorrow. This is the company partnering with Palantir for the Titan contract. So it'll be interesting to see what they talk about. Anduril IR. Let me see if they have any news. I don't think they have any news. They didn't unveil it yet, but it seems like today they're going to announce something that's going to be pretty cool. Probably new hardware for the military. That picture is crazy, right? That picture is absolutely crazy. So we'll see what they announce a little bit later today. Oh, it's out. It's out. Okay, let me Google it. Anduril news. Let's see what pops up. Oh, they got it. Okay, here we go. I think we have a video as well. Yep, we have a video. All right, so here it is. Atlas 700M expands Anduril's loitering munition offerings with a larger penetrating warhead to kill armored targets and infrastructure. It's the most lethal tactical loitering munition available today. All right, let's watch this. Anduril is going to be crazy, dude. Anduril is going to be one of those companies. When it comes to defense tech, these guys are not messing around. So there you go. We got a new drone type of product for Anduril. They said up to 75 minutes of endurance, provides longer loitering time on station, 33 pounds of payload capacity. Look at that right there, dude. So there's the drone. Let's look at that in slow motion. You guys see this? Boom. Crazy, dude. Crazy. That's insane. Now, the question is, how much is that worth to governments? How much is that worth to governments? How much are they charging for this bad boy? Look at that, dude. Look at that. You see this? Crazy. That's wild. That's wild. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. That's wild. So, yeah, I imagine that's going to be that's going to be worth some money to some governments across the world that want to buy that. And the good thing about Anduril is they only sell to the West. They're not selling this shit to China or Russia. They have morals, they have ethics, and in the concept of at least Western values, they're loyal to the United States. So that's a really important concept for Anduril as well. It really sucks Palantir doesn't have equity in these guys. We work with them, but it really sucks we don't have equity in Anduril. And the co-founders are fucking Anduril guys or Palantir guys. So it's one of those things where all the SPACs, if we had taken the 200 million we put into SPACs and just dumped it into Anduril, I mean, that would have been a hell of an investment for shareholders. So TJ just texted me. He's like, be careful with that SoFi put, because I told him I was writing that SoFi put. To options will be extremely volatile tomorrow. I'm going to tell him that I just closed it out. SoFi is probably now going to go up because I closed it out. So you're welcome for those that wanted SoFi above 7. SoFi at 710, you're welcome. Because I closed it out, it'll probably stay above 7. So you can thank me. But yeah, dude, I don't even want to risk it, dude. SoFi is getting to the point where if it falls below 7, that I don't think there's a lot of support at that $6 range. And maybe there is, but I don't even want to risk it, especially because there's a ton of options, as TJ just said, that are expiring tomorrow. So, all right, whatever. $30 L. The Robinhood paper gains are making up for the $30 L. So not the worst thing in the world. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Gotham at work. Yep. Gotham is going to be the sort of backbone of a lot of what Anduril is doing. Lattice is the core software that Anduril uses. Them and Gotham work together. And dude, Anduril is going to be exciting. I think on the private markets, they're worth 7 to 10 billion. I think they probably IPO at around 20 billion, kind of like Palantir, in the next 5-6 years. And maybe they have a Palantir story to them. Now, they don't really work in the commercial sector. They build like military software. So I don't know if they'll ever be a really big company like Palantir. Palantir can scale to like thousands and thousands of commercial customers, but Anduril still will be a pretty big defense contractor, taking on Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and all those guys. Okay, what else do we got going on? We talked about Dogecoin. So Dogecoin was pumping last night because Elon said at the Berlin factory that Tesla is probably going to use Dogecoin and Twitter is going to use Dogecoin. So that's good for Robinhood because a lot of people buy Dogecoin on Robinhood, but that's also good for Dogecoin if you're interested in that, because that means that, you know, if Tesla and Twitter literally use Dogecoin to be the currency of the platform, then Dogecoin is probably going to pump. Robinhood 1822, PayPal 6232, Coinbase, wow, 235. Oh, I did buy 20 shares of Palantir. I just got a filled order for Palantir. I bought it at 24.43. So I bought 20 shares of Palantir. But yeah, I look, personally, I do think this dip is going to get bought. So far, the dip has gotten bought pretty much every time. I mean, people want Nvidia. Where's Nvidia at? People want Nvidia at 870 if they get it there. 877. Yeah, there's going to be people coming in. They have their GTC conference soon. PPI was bad, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world. So let's see. Let's see what investors think. But you know, overall, not too crazy of a dip, and we'll see how long it lasts. Here's Bank of America. Jill Carey Hall. This is a new CNBC woman I don't think we've seen before. So we're going to be introduced to a new analyst. She is bullish, so already I like her. I don't really know what she looks like yet, or how she talks, or what her analysis is, but she has 5,400 on the S&P. So let's see what she has to say.
I want to bring in Jill Carey Hall. She is the head of small and mid-cap strategy and senior U.S. equity strategist at Bank of America Global Research. Jill, welcome.
Thank you.
It's good to see you. There are a lot of people thinking that there's a lot of liquidity in the markets right now. There's a lot of euphoria and people starting to question, are we getting near a tipping point? You are convinced that while there may be euphoria in some areas, the whole market is not at a euphoric point right now. So you think there's more room to run?
That's right. I think our conviction is the market's more likely to go higher than lower from here. We recently raised our S&P 500 year-end target to 5,400, and I think the euphoria in the markets has been concentrated in pockets, right? So Magnificent Seven, AI, some of these themes that you've seen a little bit more euphoria. We haven't really seen it.
I don't care what you guys say. I like a deep voice. So I like it.
In the broader market, when we look at our sentiment indicators, equity sentiment on Wall Street's still in neutral territory when we look at recommended equity allocations. So, you know, I think even though the price to earnings multiple of the market's pretty elevated at this point on most measures that you track, we still think that there could be more upside to the market from here. The market's a lot higher quality, lower leverage than it was, so maybe comparing the multiple today to some of the prior decades could be a bit problematic.
When you're looking at a turn in leadership potentially, or a potential rollover from stocks that have done so well, you must think if these other stocks are going to rise up, if there are other leadership groups that take over, that it's against a pretty good economic backdrop.
Right. So our economists just raised their GDP expectations for this year. We think, you know, a lot of the earnings backdrop that we're looking for should be about demand kind of starting to come through, sales recovering a bit this year. We recently raised our earnings forecast. I think you're seeing a manufacturing recovery when you look at a lot of the leading indicators of the ISM manufacturing gauge. So, you know, we do think the market can broaden out. And, you know, when you talk about the pockets of the market that you've seen euphoria, conversely, when you look at areas just like cyclicals and high beta stocks, fund managers have still been underweight a lot of those areas. So they haven't been positioned for this cyclical recovery. They were positioned much more defensively after everyone was looking for recession this year.
Which is why they're likely going to be chasing more money coming into the markets, because obviously there is momentum there. Because they're not positioned as well. So I think her argument makes a lot of sense. Market's going to broaden, rally's going to broaden, small caps are likely going to get momentum. Robinhood 1835, and we're going to see a lot more people jump into this probably over the next few months. Let me give a call to Adam. He just gave me a call. Let's see if he picks up, and we'll get his thoughts on what's going on in the markets and see what he has to say. Let's see if he picks up. Adam, hello. You are live with me on my Market Open show with 1,213 people. And are you here for 10 minutes? Can I ask you some questions?
Sure.
Okay. So it's so funny because
I was actually calling you about options play for SoFi.
Okay, so we'll talk about that. I'm laughing here because you and me were on the phone for an hour yesterday. So, so now I'm acting like, you're like, I haven't talked to you in a minute. Okay, so let me ask you some questions on what's going on, and then we'll talk about SoFi. So, MicroStrategy, it is public that you are a bit heavier into this stock. My question is, why did you pick MicroStrategy out of all of the Bitcoin proxies to be kind of your play? My play is Robinhood. Some people have the ETF. Some people have the miners. Why was MicroStrategy your thesis? Obviously, it's done very well over the past few months.
So MicroStrategy, unlike the ETFs, has options. Options equals more volatility and more, for lack of better words, the degen crowd that would ape in and play options. So you like the volatility, especially when something is going on a bull run. At the same time, MicroStrategy had a 20% short float. It's approximately 22 last time I checked. So that's not GameStop that had over 100%. However, that is a significant amount, especially if the price keeps going up. So right now, the reason why MicroStrategy is moving, in my opinion, compared to Bitcoin, is because there's a mini short squeeze happening. Now, when I say mini, I don't mean it's going to move 50%, 100%, like these crazy, crazy numbers, but it's moving, double digits per day when Bitcoin is barely moving.
Right.
Because what's happening is when people are selling covered calls and they have the actual stock and they get assigned, they just sell their shares. But if you're shorting the stock, you're borrowing shares. So there's an option on Robinhood that lets people borrow your shares. So what the institutions, the big players, they borrow a bunch of shares, not from small players like us, but from other institutions. And then when the price goes up, they don't actually have the shares. So what they have to do is they can either double down or they have to buy the shares. Now, when they're buying the shares and the price is going up and the strike is well below what the actual price of the shares are, they get absolutely murdered and they have to find the shares. And if people are not willing to sell the shares because they have conviction, well, there goes your short squeeze, or for options, it's called the gamma squeeze.
So let me, Adam, let me ask you this. Michael Saylor is trying to raise another 500 million. Do you think he's just gambling at this point? He already raised 800 million 2 weeks ago. Like, as a shareholder, do you like what he's doing, or what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I love it. He's doing it for several reasons. One of the main reasons he's doing this is because he wants to remain relevant. So as the ETFs came out, there was a lot of hype on the ETFs and people started to forget about MicroStrategy. And as they hold more Bitcoin, they don't own it, MicroStrategy owns, but the ETFs hold more Bitcoin. There's a lot of sentiment around that. So MicroStrategy, and Michael Saylor is a genius, he needs to remain relevant. Well, how do you remain relevant? You take on the biggest ETF, which would be BlackRock, and they're fighting tooth and nails for who's going to have the most Bitcoin. Obviously, BlackRock's going to hold more Bitcoin than Michael Saylor because it's not their money, it's people pouring in. But Michael Saylor is remaining relevant by issuing these shares to buy more Bitcoin, essentially popping up the price,
right,
and making the squeeze go. I think he's very well aware of what's happening with the squeeze. And we might have a gamma squeeze if Bitcoin doubles up. And there's a huge chance that it hits 100,000 within the next 30 days.
Right.
Huge chance,
right,
on all technicals and everything. So that's one of the reasons why I picked it. And the options plays, I couldn't do options on ETFs.
Okay, let's talk about, let's do SoFi, then I'll get you out of here. On SoFi, what is the options play you're thinking of right now? The stock's at 707. How would you play
So
this
I
right
literally just did it. So I love to call you and it's already starting to recover. And I call you on my plays like ASAP. So you've been talking to TJ, which is the real deal. He's really, really good. And he does something called a wheel strategy when it comes to options. Now, I've been doing this for the better part of a year, maybe over a year, and I've been very successful with it doing Palantir. You see I share my screenshot with you. I make thousands of dollars every week. You see a screenshot.
That is correct. You are not lying about that. That is correct. Yep.
So last year I made over 6 figures, just selling covered calls, mostly selling covered calls. I do some other plays, but anyways, so right now as SoFi is dropping, I was watching it since last week, and I ended up doing a covered call for SoFi, and I'll tell you the play because it's not too late. You guys can get into it as well. 1 second. Where is my SoFi?
Should I bring up Robinhood to see the options chain while you're talking?
Sure, you could do that.
Okay.
So SoFi right now is $7.08. I think I bought it right when it was at like $7.03 or 4 cents. It came up a little bit. So
wow, you might have got the literal bottom on SoFi. That's great.
Yeah. So I bought it right when I called you. That's when I bought it. So I bought a 1 week options play. Well, 1.5 weeks for March 22nd.
Okay.
Right. So that's the end of next week.
Okay.
And the March 22nd, I am saying that I am willing to buy SoFi. So I did a cash secured put at $7.
At
for
$7. Okay. This one right here.
Yeah. For this, I collected 21 cents.
A premium. Okay.
Correct, of premium. So I put down around 100,000 to cover, and I collected around 3,300 plus or minus.
How many contracts did you do?
I did 150 contracts.
Okay, so for those that are confused on how to calculate the return, Adam's saying he will spend $7 times 100 shares if he gets assigned. So that's 700. He got 21 bucks. So 21 divided by 700, he got a 3% return for something that's in a week, which is incredible, right? 3% in a week. And he put up $100,000, so he's getting 3,300, right? Which is the play.
But I'm going to tell you a secret right now that people are just not noticing that I'm shouting out. Would you believe that my return is going to be over 100%? And I'll tell you how.
How?
Is the craziest shit. So I'm literally using margin. I'm my own bank. I'm a mini bank, right? And TJ does this as well, and all these wheel deal guys do it. And when you realize this is really an infinite money glitch, and this is how the rich people really get rich, that most small people don't do. So Robinhood allows you to borrow margin against your actual stocks. Now, I'm against using margin to actually buy stocks because you can get murdered.
And you have to pay interest and all that stuff. Right?
Correct. But when I did this play right now, I didn't actually buy the shares. And as long as you don't buy the shares, and as long as you're selling, right? Because I'm not buying contracts, I'm selling contracts.
Correct.
All Robinhood is doing is saying, hey, Adam, you have to have 100,000 plus or minus available to buy the shares. Because if you're called, you have to buy the shares.
Right.
If SoFi is above $7 next week, I don't have to buy the shares. I made my money. Whatever.
So you got to use Robinhood's margin to magnify the amount of cash secured puts you can sell to collect the premium. Now, if the stock falls below your strike, either you have to roll it or you have to have the capital to buy it. But if it doesn't, which you're fairly sure it won't be at that level, you get to give the money back to Robinhood and get to use their money for a week and a half, which is
I don't even give it back to them. They don't even take it. So it's all it is an IOU. So right now Robinhood is like, oh, Adam's good people. He has a large account with us. We're willing to fund him a certain amount of money, and I still have a huge buffer. Like I'm looking at my Robinhood account, and as long as I don't buy the shares, nothing happens. There's no actual transaction. So Robinhood is essentially my roof right now. They're like, yo, we got your back. Do whatever you got to do.
They're like a really nice mafia boss until the stock falls. They're pretty nice. And if it does fall down, they're not going to shoot you. They're going to give you a couple of days, basically.
Well, I'll tell you, I got out of, so it's also a high level play. I'll tell you what I did with Tesla because I'm underwater, but I'm not underwater. So with the SoFi, to explain to you, I am going to roll it. The worst case scenario, SoFi is going to go, my minimum is 650. If you look at the charts, by the way, Bollinger Bands, you're starting to do technical analysis. We're right on the bottom of Bollinger Band. And our support is at $6.90.
On SoFi, okay.
On SoFi, based on Bollinger Bands. This is not a Jesse technical analysis. This is, so most people who buy and sell options, sell options, they use Bollinger Band technical analysis.
No, this is really important because the only band I know is the Jonas Brothers band. So I'm really curious to learn about the Bollingers as well.
So there's a Bollinger. If you want, we could do a video together on one of your options.
We should.
Videos, and I'll show it. So the Bollinger Band, essentially, it makes it very easy. It's a very simple technical analysis for people that are not super technically advanced, which is pretty much everybody in the audience, right? And me included. So I don't see it going below 690. And for the last year, the lowest it went was like 650 and it bounced up, right? It hit it like once and then it bounced up. And it's been trading relatively in the high sevens, low eights, essentially. So even if it goes below 7, it might hit 650, maybe, and I don't think so, to be honest.
Well, that's why TJ just texted me to be careful, because he's like, tomorrow the options expire, it might get below.
Maybe, but that's why I have the extra week, right? So it's not this week, it's next week. I think the PPI data is the reason this is happening. I think also SoFi, I don't mind owning the shares of SoFi because I think it's one of the last stocks that didn't pop up. And unlike PayPal, it deserves to be above 10. Like it should be up. He's killing it, Noto. Right. So that was the play. I made myself a quick $3,000, and every single week I do these type of plays, and that's why I called you. I'm like, let me share the play with you. But it's like you got to do it now.
Yeah. If
you don't do it now, it's like I could have done it last week at 750, but I'm like, for this week to be 750, then I would have been underwater. So I'm like, you know what? If you're not in a rush, you can pick your position. So between Palantir, SoFi, and a few others, I can play with this. Tesla, for example, I have a $250 put where I have to buy Tesla at $250. Now, the price of Tesla right now is like $175. I'm extremely underwater. Around a month ago, when these fucking Houthis took over that sea that screwed over Tesla, fucking Houthis in their fucking sandals. So they screwed me, which I couldn't account for this. And then there's a bunch of other things, but that was a huge thing. They shut down the factory for over a month, and now it's happening again. So I ended up rolling that put for $250 to January 2026. So I'm assuming that Tesla's going to be above $250 by 2026,
which hopefully
and then
it is.
I'm out of that trade.
Hopefully,
yeah. So now Robinhood is just holding 75 grand of mine, but I don't actually have to buy the shares.
Right.
Like I don't have to buy it unless somebody assigns them. Now people are greedy and they're like, well, we don't want to assign at 175. We'll just keep waiting because we think Tesla's going to go to $50 or $100. So I'm playing on somebody's greed, and that's it. So I don't actually have to buy the shares, and I'm just collecting premium every single week.
I love it. All right, Adam, I'm gonna let you get out of here, but we do have a bunch of questions in the chat. I don't think you've ever said this publicly, so I just want you to say this so everyone like understands your position here. Everyone's like, hey, why is this guy not on YouTube? Where is he? You can take 2 minutes and just tell people kind of why you left, and so people don't have to be curious anymore. You know?
Sure. So it's a couple of things. The only reason I started YouTube was because my kids were born, and I essentially retired. I was semi-retired when my kids were born, and I only did YouTube just to do something like for fun. And if it went, it went. Unfortunately, my channels never blew up. You don't really make money on this. I was making like $500 a month, and for some reason, people don't like my channel. It never clicked. I never got the views. I never got any of that. You guys might like me, and I appreciate it, but in terms of YouTube numbers, I was doing very, very bad. Maybe it's my Brooklyn accent, my demeanor, but that's just the way we are in Brooklyn. Some people told me you're too aggressive, whatever. So I said, my kids are getting older now, and I want to focus on a couple of different things, a couple of businesses. And I'm focusing on building one of my businesses. I had a successful business before YouTube. I made money before YouTube. It's not, most YouTubers don't make money on the real life.
Yeah, you have been a businessman for like 20 years, so you've done well.
Yeah, I have my own business since I was 20 years old. I'm 41 right now. So I've been in this for quite a long time, and I'm just concentrating on becoming a better trader because there's so much money to be made with these options. So the reason I left is because my kids are now older. They're going to daycare, and I don't have to be there as much, right? I just got to drop them off, pick them up, so on and so forth. So the reason why I left my business for 2 years was to raise my kids and give them the best father experience I possibly can. That's it.
All right, there you go. Adam will definitely be making an appearance on the channel in the future. We'll do some videos together, and we'll keep talking options, all that stuff. And yeah, people in the community love you. You've obviously been here for a very long time. And Adam, his goal past couple of years was to really retire, like not just retire, but really retire. And so far, given I know some of his positions, he's very close to that. So I love it, man.
Yeah,
super awesome.
If not for my kids, I could have been retired. I was good for myself, and good as in a good lifestyle too, not just like barely making it.
Right.
But now you have a family, and you want to give them something to pass on to their generations and their generations. So, you know, a little bit of hustling and maybe we're going to get there. But listen, I appreciate it. You have the best channel. You so hustling. I'm so proud of you. And, you know, God bless everybody in the audience. I appreciate you all. And I still got my Palantir shares. Unlike people think I sold for some reason, I still got a shit ton of Palantir shares.
I love it, dude. Thank you so much, man. I love you. You've been a brother to me, mentor to me. I'll talk to you later.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye. Yeah, Adam's doing really well, guys. I mean, he's heavy in MicroStrategy, like heavy, and he bought really early. We've seen what MicroStrategy has done. So, I mean, he's done pretty damn well. So, yeah. And then, again, the only reason he left YouTube is because like he has kids now and he has to deal with other stuff. So thank you to Adam for coming on. Awesome stuff. SoFi 710. Maybe we stay above 7, but we'll see what happens, dude. The fact that this thing is falling this low is just incredible to me. And the reason it's falling low, forget like SoFi, you know, being in this range. SoFi already fell 20%. It already fell. So I get the whole market's like red today, but SoFi already was red. You would not expect SoFi to go even further down after being down already, but the market just doesn't care. The market just does not care about SoFi, and it is what it is. So that chief risk officer selling, maybe he kind of knew this was going to be in a tough situation. Now he's at PayPal. If he can, you know, get PayPal to go up, that would be really nice to see what he can do there. 62.95 on PayPal, SoFi 710, Palantir. Where's Palantir? 24.60, and then Robinhood 18.40, Palantir 24.70. I bought the dip at 24.41. Starship update. So I think they got into the 5th level of orbital. I don't even know what you call it, but orbital something. Like orbital, the orbital velocity. That's the word. So it reached orbital velocity. So let me go back to that video that we had on Starship and just see if they're still talking. Yeah, they are. Okay, so let's get a little bit of coverage and then we'll go back to the markets. Let's see what they're saying.
On Mars, there is pretty much no atmosphere. There's some great views from our previous test campaigns of a landing burn and the upright landing. But on the moon, there is no atmosphere. On Mars, the atmosphere is extremely thin. So you actually need some other sophisticated techniques that other landers have used to land there. And so this vertical landing technique is really important to landing on destinations like those, which is ultimately where we're trying to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So we hope to demonstrate that landing in future missions. That wasn't one of our objectives for today. We wanted the ship to focus on opening and closing, the first demonstration of opening and closing the PEZ door, which is where we will deploy Starlink satellites from in the future, as well as gathering data on how the heat shield tiles performed during the entry period. And so far, all of that has gone really well. So overall, it's been pretty great, and it's great to see how those initial tests that we performed a couple of years ago for those high altitude tests allow us to see what those will look like in the future. But this piece that we're doing today of, okay, if we are coming back from orbital velocity and we're going through that entry period, that is the missing piece, right? We already figured out how to land once the ship gets to a certain velocity or altitude. And it's really this piece that we were trying to figure out today. How do we get Starship to survive orbital velocity, atmospheric entry? And
it did a pretty good job. Dude, I really love that term, orbital velocity. That's a hell of a term, dude. For someone who likes communication like me, orbital velocity is one of those phrases, Robin at 1850, I think I got to add into my arsenal of vernacular. Orbital velocity. Like, imagine you're on a date with a girl and she's just gorgeous and you're like, you have catapulted me into orbital velocity, dude. Like, I think she would be kind of impressed. I think she would be like, I did? Really? I got you into like instead of saying you're beautiful, it's like your beauty launches me into orbital velocity. Imagine that. Imagine you say that on a first date, dude. Like, or imagine you say that to your wife of 20 years. Like, imagine she's making you coffee and you say, babe, this coffee is, it's got me into orbital velocity. Like, they're going to take a second and they're going to really let that sink in, So that is a term I'm going to be using more and more on the channel. I mean, that's a hell of a term, dude. When I found out the word Byzantine back in high school, it means complex. I started using that word for everything. Robinhood pumping a little bit, 1860. And every time I would say something is like kind of complicated, I'd be like, man, this is so Byzantine. And everyone would be like, what the fuck did you just say? So when I get obsessed with the word, I tend to use it. It's negative Riz. It's not negative Riz, dude. Orbital velocity is a hell of a term. Dexter says my wife will slap me. Okay, but still she would think about it. Like orbital velocity, dude. That's an incredible term. You've launched my starship into orbital velocity. I mean, that's like the thing about it is you got to be different. Okay. With women nowadays, this is a bit starting to give advice. No, I'm just kidding. But like, I feel like women want something different. They want something compelling. There's all these guys out there, you know, doing this and that. You can't just have a Lambo anymore. Like you need something different. And I think orbital velocity is fucking different, dude. I think it's different. All right, let's get an update on the TikTok ban that might happen or might not. Here's what the Chinese government might end up doing if the U.S. forces a TikTok ban.
Talk about the future of TikTok after the House passed its divest or ban bill yesterday. Jessica Lessin, founder and CEO of The Information. Jessica, it's great to see you this morning. Your reaction to the idea that the former Treasury Secretary may be putting a group together to make this his own?
Well, I think the former Treasury Secretary has to check China.
By the way, Steve Mnuchin, former Treasury Secretary under Trump, he's trying to get a group of investors to buy TikTok. So there's a lot of people interested on seeing what they could do here.
Chinese law. I really, Andrew, don't think there's any chance the Chinese government allows TikTok to be sold in the U.S. They've said previously they wouldn't, and I don't see that being any different. So we'll see, but I think it's highly unlikely.
Are you in the camp then that this is not a divest bill, if you will, but very much a ban bill?
Absolutely. I mean, the Chinese government, they don't want Chinese algorithms in the hands of U.S. companies. B, they've been regulating TikTok and tightening the screws against it in China. So I really think those perspectives are being missed. And what the House passed is effectively a ban bill, yes.
And then are you of the view that TikTok represents a current threat to the U.S. insofar as the idea that the Chinese, talk about them regulating TikTok, are either using the data they have already and or influencing the algorithm in a way to influence Americans? Or do you consider it more of a prospective threat, which is to say that TikTok has so many users here in the U.S., if the government were to do that in the future, that they could have such an impact, but not necessarily that they've already done such?
I think what's clear from our reporting, Andrew, is that TikTok is controlled by ByteDance, which, you know, the Chinese government has a stake in the company. Our reporting has shown that. So there's no questions about the ties. Even a key app that now creators are using to edit their TikToks and is being integrated is held and controlled by ByteDance, the parent. The app's called CapCut, not TikTok. So there's no way you can really draw a bright line between them. And I think that is and should be a cause for concern.
This is going to be interesting, dude. 50 people in the House of Representatives in the United States said no, including Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. 362 people said, let's ban it. Now it goes to the Senate. I don't think they're going to have a 2/3 because Senate's like 50 Republican, 50 Democrats right now. For those internationally that don't know how the Senate operates, you need at least 66%, so 2/3 to pass anything in the Senate, which is why nothing ever gets passed in the Senate. Like anything that get passed in the Senate and the House of Representatives, it truly is. It has to be bipartisan, right? Like it literally has to be, which is probably the checks and balances of the American judiciary system that is effective, but it also creates a lot of like blockage of bills. So the Senate's not going to pass this thing. They're not going to do it. There's no way. So if the Senate's not going to pass it, I kind of feel like this is just hot noise. This isn't really anything to think about. But if the Senate does pass it and then TikTok has to divest, the question is who's going to buy it? I think the only companies that could buy it are Meta, Google, Amazon. Like who has $100 billion? And I don't think TikTok's going to sell for below $100 billion, dude. TikTok has 170 million users in the United States alone. They have probably 1.3 to 1.4 billion across the world. So this thing is a very valuable asset and not a lot of companies can buy it other than big tech. So if they have to divest, I don't know who's going to buy it. And if China doesn't want to sell, then TikTok's leaving the United States. And the reason why this is important for every investor, regardless of TikTok, is that is China going to retaliate against the United States? Now, one would argue, of course, because they're not going to let Biden or Trump just ban TikTok. The problem is their economy is in the gutter. The real estate is in the gutter. They just they just released 135 million yuan or 135 trillion yuan from the short reserve from the reserve ratios in the bank, right? So they let out a bunch more money that banks can lend out. They stopped shorting of the stock market. They freed up 287 billion yuan of liquidity 2 months ago. So their economy is in a tough situation. You can't just be like, all right, America, we're going to screw you over. Like, you're already screwed. So what are you going to do to America, right? Like, how bad of a trade war can you really start, or tariffs or anything like that? So it's a really peculiar situation. I think over the next couple of months, we will see how it plays out. Tesla 166 right now, 166.45, down 1.75%. So Tesla's still not necessarily recovering. PPI wasn't the best for Tesla. Inflation will continue to persist. Coinbase 240, Robinhood 1850, holding 7.5% is incredible for Robinhood. Absolutely incredible right now. So we'll see if that can continue to hold up, but that's really amazing on a day like this for them to do it. Tesla down 166, Rumble down 3%, Snowflake down 1.25%. Palantir recovering a little bit from that 2440 level right now. Palantir 2468. You guys are saying Apple should buy TikTok? I hope that's a joke. Apple, dude, first of all, I think it would be actually really beneficial for Apple to buy TikTok because they have so much money and they're not growing. The problem is the content on TikTok is very controversial. I mean, there's pseudo pornography on TikTok. Like, we all know this is the case, right? Like, and they're feeding that to kids, by the way. Like, those algorithms will feed anything to you. So I don't think Apple wants to deal with that. And then on top of that, TikTok is the most hotly contested place on the planet for geopolitical issues, right? Israel, Palestine, China, Taiwan. There's so much stuff there. Apple basically is controlled by the Chinese government. I mean, let's be honest, 95% of their manufacturing is in China. So China's going to make them control the algorithm. Like, it would be a tough situation, though I do think it would help them grow because that company is not growing. And the Vision Pro, to me, so far, it's a dud. I think the Vision Pro is a dud. I don't think anyone cares about the Vision Pro anymore. So until that AI iPhone comes out, I don't think we're going to see a ton of momentum there. 173.52 right now on Apple, down about up about 1.44%. It was down at 167 the other day, and now it's continuing to gain some momentum here. So that's what we've got going on in the world of Apple as well. We should not allow TikTok if the people of China can't use it. I agree. If China doesn't allow YouTube or Facebook, then we probably should not allow TikTok. I think that makes sense. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Ultimately, if gun to my head, I don't think it's going to get banned. I don't think the Senate will allow it. And I think eventually, they'll figure out the algorithm situation. But there's a lot of people campaigning for it to get banned. So I would imagine that eventually, a bill gets passed that either divests it, changes the algorithms, or just gets rid of it. And China just has to comply. Okay, that's it for me, folks. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart for joining the Market Open. It is the greatest honor I have every single day to be able to do this for you, and I find so much enjoyment and I'm humbled by the fact that people like to come here, get some knowledge, hopefully start their day right, and enjoy learning about the markets for about 2 hours every morning. Now, we're going to do word of the day, but people are saying it should actually be called mispronunciation of the day, which I'm not opposed to changing because I don't know how the hell to say this word, dude. So it's probably going to be mispronunciation of the day. Tourtière. That's my go. Locking it in. Tourtière.
Tourtière.
See, every time, dude. Tourtière. How was I supposed to know it's tourtière versus tourtière? Like, did anyone think it was
Tourtière? Tourtière.
No. Like, it sounded like tourtière. Like, either that's just me or I'm genuinely special, or like I'm either special or like this is a hard word to pronounce, but I thought it was tourtière. A pastry-covered pie containing minced pork or other chopped meat at various chopped vegetables.
Tourtière.
Has anyone ever ate this before? The aroma of the tourtière cooking in the oven filled the kitchen, creating a warm, welcoming, inviting atmosphere. For their holiday celebration, the family prepared a traditional tourtière using a recipe passed down through generations. I don't think I've ever had this before, but if you've had this before, let me know in the chat. I got to learn a little bit more French. That's correct. I got to learn more French. All right, that's it for me. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back for the market close, 3:45. We'll see what happens. Palantir right now, last update, Palantir is currently 24.74, down 1%. And Robinhood, 18.47 right now, up 7.65% as the market opens. Daily Palantir episode will be out in a couple hours. I'll be reacting to Karp's interview. And then we'll keep going from there for the market close at 3:45. That's it. Thursday. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'll see you in a couple of hours. Bye, everyone. Have a good one.